As Pakistan grapples with a crippling power and economic crisis, the Shehbaz Sharif government has introduced a series of measures to cut down on energy costs and decrease dependence on imported oil.
Pakistan is reeling under a severe energy crisis. The Shehbaz Sharif government has now come up with the National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Plan.
Will Pakistan split again? This is a question the world is asking today.
Hello everybody. On 4th of January 2023, Pakistan government announced National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Plan, citing worsening conditions of economy. Now, what is uncanny about this so-called conservation plan is that in the name of the energy conservation, the very freedom of the Pakistani people is being violated. According to these measures, markets in Pakistan will close by 8 p.m. in the night, along with banning low-efficiency fans and bulbs. Government departments are asked to save at least 30% of energy costs by any means necessary. All of this was inevitable as Pakistan's forex reserves fell so low that it can cover for only 1 month of imports. Now, some may think this to be just a temporary measure, but the Pakistan's downfall has been happening for last 75 years. In fact, IMF has bailed out Pakistan's economy 13 times in the past 30 years itself. That's 13 freaking times. It speaks volume about the misgovernance of Pakistan's government. Indeed, the current crisis prevailing in Pakistan is attributed to a large number of policy decisions that did not deliver expected results, combined with political unrest in several parts of the country. In this context, this video outlines some of the crucial indicators such as inflation, public debt, and foreign exchange reserves that are responsible for the deepening economic crisis in Pakistan. Now, let's take a look at the decisions taken by Pakistan in its formative years which have set the trajectory of economic collapse in motion. 15th August 1947 marked the watershed moment in 20th century for South Asia, whereby the Indian subcontinent was finally free from the unjust subjugation of British rule. However, the independence was also marked by a painful story, the partition of Indian subcontinent. Therefore, the partition of India led to the creation of two independent countries, namely India and Pakistan. While Pakistan chose to be an Islamic state, India chose the values of secularism for the development of all the inhabitants of this great nation. However, soon after the independence, the days of Pakistan as a thriving democracy were numbered once Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founding father of Pakistan, died, leaving political vacuum. Unlike India, which had a visionary statesman at the helm for close to 16 years, which provided India the opportunity of having policy continuation, thereby setting the trajectory of India as a sovereign, secular, socialist and democratic republic, so much so that India is the 5th largest economy in the world, whereas Pakistan is literally surviving on debt. So, the question that comes into mind is what went wrong with the Pakistan? For instance, Pakistan had everything that any country would aspire for. It had the best geography, having access to sea as well as being on the crossroads of trade routes linking Central Asia, West Asia and South Asia. Unlike India, which had to deal with the issues ranging from communalism, poverty and a unification of a very large population. Since we all know 1950s was the era of Cold War between two rival blocs led by capitalist USA and communist USSR, soon after its formation, Pakistan virtually became a semi-ally of USA-led bloc. As soon as in 1948, the aid given by USA was used by Pakistan to infiltrate the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, which resulted into first war between India and Pakistan, thus giving birth to most difficult dispute of the 20th century, the Kashmir dispute, and simultaneously begins the story of downfall of Pakistan, or story of Pakistan becoming a failed state. The war of 1948 made the Pakistani military the strongest institution in Pakistan. Thus, civilian government of Pakistan has been since operating on the mercy of the military, or often called as the deep state of Pakistan. Even though 1950s marked as the golden age of Pakistan since USA funded Pakistan's developmental activities so as to maintain its leverage with Pakistan to counter Soviet forces. However, deep state remains a deep concern for Pakistan's population. The influence of deep state has been worrying as each of the Prime Minister remains concerned to save his position and thus focuses more on power struggle than on actual development.
Now, if you think that the army and ISI is not on board on the peace process that I went through with Prime Minister Vajpayee and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, please understand that they were completely and totally on board.
With frequent change of guard by the influence of military, there has been minimal or zero policy continuation in Pakistan, which prevents investors from investing large sums of money in Pakistan. Thus, due to this power struggle, the innocent population of Pakistan suffers immensely, so much so that the country which was once regarded as the most favored destination for the FDI, today accounts for less than 1% of its GDP.
Indian armed forces brought the dictators to their knees and the Bengalis to freedom.
हमने यहाँ भारत में भी 3 वादे किए थे अपनी जनता से। पहले ये कि जो शरणार्थी यहाँ आए हैं वो सब वापस जाएंगे। दूसरा ये कि हम हर तरह से मुक्ति वाहिनी की सहायता करेंगे, बांग्लादेश के लोगों की मदद करेंगे और तीसरे कि शेख साहब को हम जरूर छुड़वाएंगे जेल से। हमने भी अपने तीनों वादे पूरे किए हैं।
After the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, the Pakistani military finally understood the futility of fighting Indian forces. Therefore, it started trying to find the alternate ways to bleed India. The opportunity came to Pakistan when in 1979, the USSR invaded Afghanistan and USA chose Pakistan as a preferred state to train militants who were called as Mujahideen to fight the Soviet forces.
I believe the fundamental problem that prevents meaningful friendship is, and I'm being very blunt here, the nature of the Pakistani state. In India, our state has an army. In Pakistan, the army has a state.
Little did the American know that Pakistan had a quite nefarious plan up its sleeve. It planned to use American-trained Mujahideen to up the ante with India by promoting insurgency in Kashmir and Punjab region. Thus, Pakistan became the first country in the world which started exporting terrorists. Unlike India, which chose to export softwares as a service or platforms as a service post the LPG reforms in 1991, Pakistan chose to export terrorists as a service, therefore bringing out altogether a new terminology in the export industry. Now, it is said that when you dance with the devil also dances with you. And soon enough, Pakistan itself got gripped in the vicious trap of homegrown hardcore religious fundamentalists such as Tehreek-e Taliban Pakistan, whose objective is to overthrow the state of Pakistan and install a true Islamic nation with Sharia as the governing law. In fact, a few days back, the Pakistan Taliban even appointed a full-fledged government, thereby creating 2 governments in a single country.
Now, this voracious demon is eating its creator. And why do I say that? Because the PTP has now declared a parallel government in Pakistan, a parallel government that directly challenges Pakistan's sovereignty, a government that could splinter the Pakistani state into more pieces. The parallel TTP government has also announced its own cabinet, a cabinet which consists of various ministries. There's defense, judiciary, information, education, intelligence, economic affairs, political affairs, a fatwa issuing authority, even a department of construction. And we wonder what this department will construct. Perhaps a wall marking its territory.
A population which is suffering from economic crisis coupled with low literacy might fall into the trap of religious fundamentalists. Obviously, it won't be easy to overthrow the government of Pakistan as it has the backing of a strong army. However, there have been concerns raised about nuclear weapons falling into the hands of terrorists should the Pakistani state crumble under its own misgovernance. It remains highly unlikely as of now, but anything can happen in a country which chooses religious violence to achieve its objectives. Another existential crisis for Pakistan is that of the Balochistan Liberation Army, whose objective is to create an independent Balochistan.
Balochistan has always been a site of territorial anxiety for the Pakistani state. It borders Afghanistan, Iran, and the Indian Ocean. It's also been a site of mining, so gold, zinc, oil, copper, gas. It's a province that functions, because of its geostrategic position, as a route for the China-Pakistan economic corridor, and that has meant just millions and millions of investments from China. That the Pakistani state, especially the military, is really dedicated to protecting.
That protection of Balochistan's territory and numerous high-value, high-security projects has not extended to people in the region. For 70 years, Balochistan has been providing the rest of Pakistan with natural gas, meeting more than 50% of the country's needs at times. However, today, fewer than half the cities in Balochistan have access to that gas. Many Baloch use wood and coal for heating and cooking. Balochistan's separatist movement, born prior to Pakistan's creation in 1947, has seen wave after wave of violence, with the Pakistani military resorting to brutality to rein in the insurgency. There have been countless human rights abuses, enforced disappearances in the thousands of Baloch nationalists, activists, intellectuals, and journalists.
Therefore, the Pakistan of 2023 is caught in the mess of its own creation. Anyhow, Pakistan was barely surviving on debt, but hell broke loose on Pakistan when Wuhan originated COVID-19 hit the world. Since the economy of Pakistan is based on exports, unlike India, which is a consumption-led economy, the economy of Pakistan was severely impacted, and when the Ukraine war in 2020 shot the energy prices to the roof, it virtually made impossible for Pakistan to import crude oil without severely compromising the balance of payments account. On this note, it's a wrap for this topic. Actually, the Pakistan is so deep in a mess that a single video is not enough to even touch on areas where Pakistan has failed miserably. Anyway, in your opinion, should the Indian government help the Pakistan in reviving its economy as India is helping Sri Lanka? Or India should use this opportunity to snatch back Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and even Lahore? Bye and take care.